It's a question that haunts the back of almost every working adult's mind, hovering over family dinners and quiet late-night reflections. Do I actually have enough? And more specifically, how many people have managed to crack the code and accumulate a nest egg of $2 million? The answer is startlingly lower than you might expect, revealing a chasm between the perception of wealth in America and the reality of saving. In this video, we're going to ruthlessly dissect the data to reveal exactly who has reached this elusive milestone. But more importantly, we're going to walk through the surprisingly accessible mathematics that makes this figure achievable for ordinary households, not just the ultra-rich. You need to stay with us until the very end, because we will be unveiling the single psychological shift to specific focus on a certain financial tipping point that, once achieved, makes hitting the $2 million mark almost a mathematical inevitability. But before we dive into the data that could change your financial future, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps us bypass the algorithm to get this crucial financial education to the people who need it most. Let's begin by confronting the brutal reality of the numbers. According to the most recent data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, a staggeringly small group only, about 1.8% of United States households have managed to stash away $2 million or more in dedicated retirement accounts. To visualize that, imagine a stadium of 100 households. Fewer than 2 of them have achieved this level of security. It's vital to clarify what we mean here because the definition of wealth is often muddied. When we cite this 1.8% figure, we are strictly talking about liquid, tax-advantaged retirement vehicles like 401ks, 403bs, and IRAs. This figure notably excludes net worth calculations that pad the numbers, like the value of your primary residence, your vehicles, or your taxable brokerage accounts. We are talking about money specifically earmarked to replace your paycheck when you stop working. There is a critical distinction here, one that often confuses the average investor. You'll often see statistics citing a high number of millionaires in the US, but many of these households are what financial planners call illiquid affluent. They appear wealthy on a balance sheet because they've been paying down a mortgage for 30 years in a high-custove living area. However, home equity is functionally different from retirement savings. It is a trap to believe that a paid-off $1 million home makes you ready for retirement. Why? Because home equity has a completely different utility profile than a stock portfolio. You can't slice off a shingle from your roof to pay for groceries, and you can't trade your front porch to pay for a knee replacement. While your home is a store of value and a hedge against rent inflation, it doesn't generate cash flow unless you sell it, which leaves you homeless or borrow against it, which introduces new debt payments exactly when you want to eliminate them. True retirement readiness is defined by liquid, invested assets that generate passive income, allowing you to maintain your standard of living without cannibalizing your lifestyle. Furthermore, we have to look at the demographics of that 1.8%. That percentage represents households, not individuals. Given that the average US household consists of about 2.6 people, the actual percentage of individual Americans walking around with access to a $2 million retirement fund is vanishingly small, likely under 1%. This scarcity creates a feeling of impossibility, a sense that unless you're a CEO, a surgeon, or a lottery winner, this number is out of reach. But this is where the narrative shifts from depressing statistics to empowering mathematics. When you strip away the fear and look at the raw mechanics of compound interest, reaching this milestone is surprisingly doable for a median earner who possesses the discipline to ignore societal pressure. Let's break down the real numbers. If you're starting with nothing, the math says you need to invest about $14,000 a year for 36 years to hit the $2 million mark. This is based on a 7% inflation-adjusted return, which is what the S&P 500 has historically delivered. That 7% is key. It means your $2 million in the future will have the same buying power as $2 million today. Now, here's the crazy part. This calculation assumes you never ever increase your contributions, even as you get promotions, raises, and bonuses over 4 decades. This plan works without you adding a single extra penny. This gives you a massive safety buffer. So, what does $14,000 a year look like? It's about $1,170 a month. For the median U.S. household, that's around 16% to 17% of your gross income. It's not pocket change, but it's not some impossible dream reserved for the super rich. If you start this journey at age 30, you're on track to hit $2 million right around retirement age, 65 or 66. But time is your superpower. If you start just 5 years earlier, at age 25, the game completely changes. You'd only need to invest about $10,000 a year, which is less than $850 a month, to reach that same $2 million goal by 65. This shows the incredible power of compound interest. Those first few years of investing do more work than decades of saving later on. Of course, the math is the easy part. The hard part is actually doing it. Investing over $1,000 a month goes against everything modern consumer culture tells us to do. You've got rent, a mortgage, childcare, student loans, and that constant pressure to show off your success. But building real wealth is a game of trade-offs. It's almost never about earning a massive salary. It's about controlling how much you spend. Think about it. The choice between driving a reliable 5-year-old car versus leasing a new luxury SUV every 3 years. That's often a $1 million decision right there. That one choice can free up the $600 to $800 a month you need to fund your investments. Or buying a house that's 80% of what the bank says you can afford, instead of stretching to your absolute limit. These unsexy behind-the-scenes decisions are what build a $2 million portfolio. So if the math is so simple, save 17% of your income and wait, why? Do over 98% of people never get there? The roadblocks aren't intellectual, they're behavioral. The first huge mistake is procrastination. Most of us think, I'll have more money later. We focus on today's emergencies, weddings, down payments, new furniture, and push saving for retirement to a someday that never comes. The tragedy is, the most valuable dollars you will ever invest are the ones from your 20s and 30s. If you wait until you're 40 to get serious, the monthly amount you need to save doesn't just double, it nearly triples. It becomes an almost impossible mountain to climb for the average person. The second wealth destroyer, and maybe the most dangerous, is lifestyle creep. It's also known as the Diderot effect. This is when getting one new thing leads to a spiral of more spending. You get a promotion, so you buy a nicer car. But that nice car makes your driveway look shabby, so you redo the landscaping. Now the new yard makes your house look small, so you start looking for a bigger one. As your income goes up, your spending goes up right along with it, and your savings rate never improves. I've seen people earning $250,000 a year, or living paycheck to paycheck, because their lifestyle has expanded to eat up every last dollar. They're on a treadmill, running faster and faster, but never actually moving forward financially. The path to $2 million isn't a secret. It's a formula built on discipline, smart trade-offs, and starting early. It's about beating procrastination and resisting the urge to upgrade your life with every pay raise. It's a long game, but it's a winnable one. Let's talk about the third major retirement barrier, the real estate reliance fallacy. Millions of us have been taught that our home is our primary investment. You hear it all the time. Real estate never goes down, or my house is my pension. And look, owning a home is a great way to force yourself to save, and it's a good hedge against inflation. But it's a terrible way to access cash. A house comes with huge carrying costs, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, renovations that all drain your cash flow instead of creating it. When you retire, you can't eat your kitchen cabinets. Unless you're willing to sell and downsize drastically or get a reverse mortgage, all that equity is trapped. This leads to a house-rich, cash-poor retirement, where you're sitting on $1 million asset but can't afford to pay the electric bill. Then there's the dangerous complacency around Social Security. So many people treat it like a full replacement for their income, but it was only ever meant to be a safety net. The average monthly benefit is around $1,800 to $2,000 per person. Sure, that'll keep you from starving, but it won't let you truly live. It's a subsistence-level income in today's America. Relying only on Social Security means a retirement without dignity, travel, or choice. It often forces seniors to depend on their adult children for help. It's creating a cycle of generational burden that we all want to avoid. To really see how serious this is, let's look at the numbers. So, what does the other side look like? What does having $2 million actually buy you? Let's demystify that number. It's not about private jets and butlers. Using that same 4% withdrawal rule, $2 million generates $80,000 of passive income every year. In most parts of the country, with your house paid off and no more commuting costs. $130,000 is a luxurious amount of money. It covers high-quality healthcare, regular travel, hobbies, and the ability to help your grandkids, all without that gut-wrenching anxiety of checking your bank balance. Reaching this level requires a fundamental shift in how you think about happiness. We live in an age of hyper-comparison, fueled by social media. We see 25-year-olds with Lamborghinis and private jets and feel like we're failing. But you have to understand, most of that is just smoke and mirrors. True wealth is what you don't see. It's the car not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the renovations delayed. Financial writer Morgan Housel calls this the man in the car paradox. When you see someone in a Ferrari, you don't think, wow, that guy is cool. You think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. Nobody actually cares about your stuff. They're just using your possessions to build their own fantasies. Once you truly get this, the desire to impress strangers just evaporates. And you can redirect all that capital into your compounding machine, building real, lasting wealth. Have you ever heard of the philosophy of stealth wealth? It's the secret weapon of the 1.8%. These are the people you see every day wearing standard clothes, driving standard cars, living in what look like standard neighborhoods, but their bank accounts are anything but standard. They cracked a code that most people miss: spending money. To show other people how much money you have is the absolute fastest way to have less money. It's a simple truth, but a powerful one. Instead of chasing flashy status symbols, they prioritize something far more valuable: experiences and freedom. Psychological research consistently shows that the happiness we get from buying material things fades incredibly fast. It's a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation. That new car smell. It's gone in a month, and then your shiny purchase just becomes a hunk of metal you have to insure and maintain. But the memory of a family trip to Italy, the peace of mind that comes from knowing you could quit your job tomorrow if you really wanted to, that provides a lasting sense of fulfillment that no consumer good can ever replicate. It's a deeper, more sustainable form of happiness. So, how do you actually get there? What's the one focus that creates a mathematical guarantee of reaching financial freedom? The secret isn't some complicated trading strategy. It's found in the simple, powerful physics of the first million. Charlie Munger, the legendary partner of Warren Buffett, famously said, "The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it." That same brutal logic applies to the first million. Right now, hitting a goal like $2 million might feel like trying to scale Mount Everest in your flip-flops. But the journey isn't linear. It's exponential. Here's the key insight. The milestone that truly changes your life is unhitting $2 million. It's getting that first $500,000 to $1 million invested and working for you. Once you have $1 million in the market, the magic of compounding takes over most of the heavy lifting. Think about it like this. If you have $1 million invested in a broad market index like the S&P 500, earning an average 10% annual return, your portfolio will generate $100,000 in growth in a single year. For many people, that's more than they can save from their entire salary. At that exact moment, your money is officially working harder than you are. We can use the rule of 72 to see how this plays out. This rule is a simple way to estimate how long it takes for an investment to double. At a 10% return, your money doubles roughly every 7.2 years. This means if you can scrape and claw your way to that first million by, say, age 50, even if you never contribute another single penny, you are statistically likely to have $2 million by age 57 and $4 million by age 65. The small snowball you started rolling has become an unstoppable avalanche of wealth. This is exactly why the early years of saving and investing feel so painful, yet are so incredibly critical. In the beginning, your returns feel tiny. You save up $10,000, and it earns you maybe $700 or $1,000 in a year. It feels completely insignificant, like you're trying to fill the ocean with a teaspoon. But you have to trust the math. You have to trust the exponential curve. You aren't just saving money. You are building the foundation of a financial skyscraper. If you can focus with intense discipline on getting to that first critical mass driving the used car a few more years, cooking more meals at home, maybe picking up a side hustle, you will eventually reach a tipping point. This is the glorious moment where the growth from your investments exceeds your annual contributions from your job. That is the moment you've essentially won the game. Ultimately, the goal isn't about the number itself. It's not about hoarding gold coins like a dragon in a cave. It's about one thing: buying your freedom. It's about waking up in the morning and realizing that your time belongs to you. Not to a boss, not to a bank, and not to a bill collector. It's the profound ability to make decisions based on what is right for your life, not just what is required for your survival. This path is open to almost anyone who is willing to endure a little bit of social discomfort today for a lifetime of absolute freedom tomorrow. The 1.8% aren't superhuman. They're just incredibly consistent. They have mastered the boring, unsexy, but unbelievably powerful art of patience. And if you start today, there is absolutely no reason why you can't be one of them. Thanks for watching. If this gave you a new perspective, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.